In the dark, early hours within Baltimore Harbor, the cargo ship Dolly encountered a sudden and critical power failure. The vessel's lights and engine fell silent. The ship's captain quickly sent out a Mayday distress signal and began emergency actions. He dropped the port anchor and made a sharp turn to the left in an urgent attempt to prevent a disastrous crash with the approaching Francis Scott Key Bridge. Momentarily, a glimmer of hope appeared as the ship's power flickered back to life. However, this brief resurgence was quickly extinguished by a second, more severe power loss. Without its navigational systems and propulsion, the Dolly was left adrift, its efforts to change course undone by the darkness and the relentless push of the currents. The inevitable collision occurred as the Dolly, now a massive unguided projectile, slammed into one of the bridge's main support pylons. The impact was monumental, sending shockwaves through the harbor and bringing most of the bridge tumbling down into the Patapsco River.
C-13 dispatch, the whole bridge just fell down.
This is the story of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse.
Everybody, the whole bridge just collapsed.
The Francis Scott Key Bridge has been crucial for Baltimore and nearby areas since 1977. This impressive bridge helped with smooth trade and travel across the harbor, supporting the very busy Port of Baltimore. It's important for connecting highways, boosting the economy, and helping move goods around the East Coast. Before the disaster with this bridge, the cargo ship Dolly faced massive electrical problems while at the Port of Baltimore. Julie Mitchell from Container Royalty told CNN the Dolly was stuck at the port for 2 days with serious power outages and severe electrical problems, causing everything to shut down. Even though mechanics fixed these issues and the vessel passed inspection, there was a lingering doubt about the stability of the repairs. The Dolly had faced trouble before, like in 2016 when it hit a stone wall in the Belgian port of Antwerp. The ship sustained hull damage impairing seaworthiness. This all came into play this fateful night. Under the cover of night at Baltimore Harbor, the massive ship Dolly was getting ready to leave, freshly emerged from a rigorous 2-day maintenance effort to address its electrical troubles. While the ship's mechanics had effectively resolved the issues, allowing it to pass inspection, some crew members harbored reservations about the long-term stability of these repairs. Nonetheless, with formal clearance in hand, the Dolly was deemed fit to embark on its voyage. The ship was still not in great shape. With a history of accidents, there was a lot of worry as the Dolly started its journey. Nobody could have predicted the disaster that occurred next. Just as the Dolly embarked on its uncertain voyage, you too can embark on countless journeys through the world of stories with Audible Premium Plus. Navigate through the vast seas of audiobooks, from thrilling mysteries to captivating histories, without leaving the safety of your home. Sign up today and receive a 30-day free trial along with 2 free audiobooks of your choice. Whether you're exploring unknown waters or unraveling complex tales, let Audible be your compass to adventure. Start your trial and find your next great story by clicking the link in the description or pinned comment below. Right after leaving the Port of Baltimore in the dark, the Dolly ran into unexpected trouble. Shortly after the assisting tugboat left, the ship had a major electrical failure. This left the Dolly drifting without control, unable to move or steer, and at the mercy of the harbor's currents. The tugboat, leaving as usual, quickly turned into a crisis, putting the Dolly on a crash course with the Francis Scott Key Bridge. In an attempt to avoid disaster, the crew, under the captain's orders, briefly restored the ship's power. The captain made a quick decision to turn left sharply and drop the anchor, hoping to change direction. But this hope quickly faded when the power cut out again, leaving them without any control once more. Now, with no way to steer and no help from the tugboat, the Dolly was unavoidably headed for the bridge. Despite the captain and crew's frantic efforts to prevent it, the ship, now helplessly adrift, was on a collision path with the bridge. As the ship drifted into the bridge, the moment the Dolly collided with the Francis Scott Key Bridge was catastrophic. The impact was immediate and devastating, sending a significant portion of the bridge crashing into the Patapsco River below. The sound of the collision echoed through the night. Vehicles that had been on the bridge at the time plunged into the icy waters, their descent marked by the brief, haunting glow of headlights before being swallowed by the darkness. Right after the bridge fell, a massive search and rescue operation started, with the Coast Guard, police, and firefighters all working together to search the river and the bridge debris. They worked fast because they knew how important it was to find and help people trapped by the collapse. During this time, they managed to save 2 construction workers, a hopeful moment in a tough situation. These workers were saved from danger by the hard work of the rescue teams. Fortunately, police quickly responded to the emergency mayday call by blocking off the bridge to traffic.
Hold all traffic on the Key Bridge. There's a ship approaching. It just lost their steering. So until you get that under control, we gotta stop all traffic.
This fast action meant that not many cars were on the bridge when it collapsed, which helped prevent even more injuries or deaths. While the rescue effort was ongoing, the National Transportation Safety Board was working hard to figure out what caused the Dolly ship to crash into the Francis Scott Key Bridge. They're looking at data from the ship's black box, which records important details like where the ship was, how fast it was going, and what the crew was saying right before the crash. They think the ship suddenly lost all power, which made it drift and hit the bridge. But there's a problem. 2 minutes of important audio are missing from the black box. This missing piece makes it hard to know exactly what happened. The NTSB is still trying to put together as much information as they can to help prevent something like this from happening again, but some parts will remain an unsolved mystery. Before the tragic crash into the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, the cargo ship Dolly had taken on fuel at ports, including Zhangzhou, China, and Busan, South Korea. Investigators are zeroing in on these refueling stops because they think the ship's sudden power failure, which caused the crash, might have been due to contaminated fuel. Normally, issues with bad fuel are handled quietly at sea and don't make the news. Contaminated fuel can mess up a ship's engine and electrical systems badly. It may contain things like water or dirt that prevent the fuel from burning right. This can make the engine lose power or even shut down because fuel filters and injectors get clogged. For the Dolly, using such contaminated fuel might have made it impossible to steer or keep the power on, leading to the crash with the bridge. Another key factor was the tugboat leaving early. Tugboats are very important for helping big ships move safely, especially in tricky parts of the harbor. If the Dolly had a tugboat with it for a longer time, it might have avoided the crash. Tugboats help steer ships in the right direction and keep them out of trouble, like avoiding crashes or getting stuck. The situation with the Dolly shows we need to think about changing the rules for how tugboats help ships to make sure accidents like this don't happen again. This crash has also led to huge financial losses, possibly in the billions. It also stopped the normal movement of goods and business, hitting both big and small businesses hard. With the port of Baltimore closed, goods can't get through, causing delays and financial problems for many. The mechanics who last worked on the ship are now facing tough financial times, showing how often the individuals least responsible bear the heaviest consequences after such accidents, as it wasn't their decision to leave port with non-complete repairs. After the tragic event of the Dolly ship hitting the Francis Scott Key Bridge, there's now a hopeful push towards recovery. The community is not just looking to fix the bridge, but also to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. This rebuilding effort is more than fixing what was broken. It's about the community coming together, learning from this event, and making a stronger, safer future. The path to getting everything back to normal might take some time, but together everyone is ready to face the challenges and come out stronger on the other side. Thank you for joining us in remembering this pivotal moment in history. Subscribe to Tech Disasters for more stories like this.